People I've heard online, especially on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, says that they're there to fight for the children, you know, anti-abortion, and they fight for the kids. Like they're saving babies. This is a very, very important topic because in actuality, I'll use the same example I used in the previous video. How do you know that those babies that you're bringing up are going to be good people to begin with? Supposed that, and there's no really bad or good. It's just I'm talking about influences overall. But and we're in a system that basically corrupts your system to begin with, your consciousness, the same way it can even corrupt your sexual preferences, right? So suppose one of those kids came out gay. I mean, what happens then, right? They don't go with the religious order of what you stand for. I heard one person say they would disown their kids, right? So what happens then? How did you save an individual? You know, I have a bunch of cats that I can say I've saved. Now, I'm not here ever talking about it on my videos. It's just something that I do because it's in a good nature to do so. I'm not getting anything in return, nor do I ever need to even really talk about it. I'm only bringing up the topic now because it's in the subject matter. But we have a bunch of cats here, and this is something that just happened. But people irresponsibly do things, and they think that they're saving cats or being nice by giving these cats food when they see them in the wild, or you know, these street cats in nature or whatnot. And you're doing nothing by doing that. You're doing nothing but more bad than good. In actuality, these cats now will stay around your territory and pretty much rely on you to keep feeding them. But aside from that, they're gonna reproduce and continue to multiply. Kind of like a person they tell you to be like in the religious order. Be fruitful and multiply. Now, it's animalistic in a way to keep reproducing and multiplying. See, animals only do this to ensure the survivability of their species or their particular sperm, or how do you want to call this? Their particular lineage, okay? Their particular bloodline, I guess, as an individual cat goes. Their survivability and their instinct is to reproduce and to multiply. So there's very poor people who do this, and this is because they're in their animalistic nature. They're poor in this realm to begin with due to animalistic tendencies. And I'm not saying that being animalistic is bad. It's just that if the animalistic nature of yourself is imbalanced, you will act animalistic. Okay? You don't notice how if a male cat wants to impregnate a female cat, it doesn't matter if the female cat's in heat or not. They're gonna basically, you know, bite the neck and put that cat into submission, and it will plant its seed in her. Sort of like a grape scene, but for animals. You have animals, for example, a dog could be super horny, and it doesn't know or care if the other dog is a male or female. It's still going to try to hump it. I've already seen it because my dog Pharaoh has tried to hump another male dog, and it doesn't necessarily mean he's gay. It just means that he's in heat and he will pretty much hump anything. He's humped a leg of a human, right? And is it looking at the leg saying, wow, what a sexy leg? No, it's just going to hump the fucking leg. So a person who is in a poverty consciousness tends to act animalistic, but they're in that poverty because of animalistic imbalances. An imbalance in the root chakra, because the root chakra is also responsible for the balance of your finances and your current conditions here in this reality. Or where are you rooted from? How are you planted here in this realm, right? What type of experiences are you having in a physicality? Rich people don't have as many babies as poor people do, and they can afford the babies more than the rich people. I mean, more than the poor people. So the poor people have all these babies. They act animalistic, and some people act even so animalistic that they will act out animalistic tendencies, like I just mentioned before, raping other people, or essaying other people. And what happens when you act these animalistic things out? You get put in a special place called a jail cell, right? And you will be pretty much treated like a pet. You will be under the custody of the government or the state, right? So suppose it that a woman is pregnant and she's in jail, right? They are paying for her baby to be born or aborted, either way. But the aborted part would be a lot cheaper. So they would prefer this, right? Now, when you're in a jail cell, you'll get told when to eat, when to go out. You're not even your name, you're just a number. And if you had like a certain look, they may even strip you of that look, depending on how severe your crimes were. So this is basically showing you that you designed this realm to be conducive in a certain way with other people around you. So it's mainly fulfilling a social contract. And how you conduct yourself, you set it up that way. But because you're not aware or conscious of yourself, then you don't know how to treat others. Because a person who's truly enlightened would treat others as they would want to be treated themselves. This is basically being good-natured. There's people who say, oh, I'm, that you have to be a good person. A good person treats others how they want to be treated, right? So, like, for example, Cardi B gave the example of, oh, sometimes the one who does my hair or my nails and they do a bad job, sometimes I want to cuss the shit out of her, but, I don't do it because I stop and say to myself, I wouldn't want to be treated like that if I was in her shoes, right? So you're still you had to think about it, right? You had to think about it, stop yourself and transmute that. Still of a human nature, right? But you shed awareness on a negative that was occurring. So you put a stop to it. You kind of halted yourself, right? But see, here's the thing. Some people do it only because it's good-natured in them. It's basically, how self-aware are you of yourself? See, a poor person has a certain consciousness. A rich person has a certain consciousness. A rich person is not going to make the choices and decisions a poor person does. This is because they're in an abundant consciousness. A person in a poverty consciousness is going to make detrimental decisions to have a certain experience here. But a person in Christ consciousness is another different type of animal or beast. There is no religion. There is nothing but the unity in all things. But you're in the world and truly not of it. So you're using this chemistry of negative and positive, masculine and feminine, acid and alkaline, but you know how to add, heat to something that's too cold, or you know how to cool things down that are too hot at that moment. So you don't let things get out of hand. Okay? So this is why, if you're aware, all right, you can shed light to a negative program. That's literally that. Now you're starting to program yourselves. But there's a different way to program yourselves too. See, your cells are like little people, right? They do everything you do: eat, poop, breathe, multiply themselves, right? They breathe. I mean, everything you do, a cell does. They even have organelles, which is, you got organs, they got an organelle. So it's a simpler form of you. So these cells are basically listening and getting programmed by you. So if you say, I'm going to stop this now and I'm not going to continue to do it any further, but you go on tomorrow and your goofy ass does the same shit all over again, then this is where the saying that you can only lie to yourself, you can't lie to others, you can only lie to yourself. That's where that whole saying actually really stems from. Because you're technically lying to yourself, but you're also programming your cells to continue to do what you do, which is be full of shit. You notice how when you try to go against the grain on something, it's uncomfortable. So when you try to change a program because you're a creature of habit, you're going to want to continue to do the same things, right? Because you're programmed that way. But when you want to change it, then you tend to go through these obstacles, kind of like withdrawal symptoms. But what happens is that you have to have discipline, because now you have the positive energies following you. That's where you get the word disciples. The positive experiences that come with this discipline are going to be followed through the virtues and principles you set in play. Now, a lot of people will still externalize this thing and say that Jesus Christ has performed miracles in their life and they couldn't have done it without Jesus Christ and whatnot. I mean, that's just a different perspective of their version of what a Christ is, what Jesus is. It's something outside of themselves. But they still lived through virtues and principles and maintain a disciplined lifestyle to accomplish a positive thing in their life, not knowing that they're doing it themselves. That's why they say God helps those who help themselves. Because you are God and you're doing it for yourself. So Cardi B, for example, can afford for somebody to do her hair and her nails. But she said that when they do a bad job, she feels like cussing them out, but she stops herself. But she can also do that shit for her fucking self. But she has the resources and money for others to do it for her. But you also have the same, when you want something done right, you do it yourself. You don't have others doing it for you. Now, there's a little shift here, because I already said that everybody is a brand ambassador and everybody is a representation for me, is a rep. So you see how if I have a business, I have to do proper training and proper development. But aside from that, I got to lead by example. So I can't do fuckery around them, because they're going to pick up on that too. And they'll think it's okay because I set a culture of dishonesty. So aside from training, you have to actually lead by example. You have to be what you want them to be. So it's not them do one thing and then you do something else, because energetically, there's not going to be a flow of harmonious energy in that space. So you literally have to be what you want to see in your environment. So in order for me, so say I'm the best one in the store, I have to train them to be like me through experiences of how to do it and role playing, but I also have to lead by example. I have to show what I am doing in their environment, because they're like children, open-minded and receiving and learning from me like a child observing their parents as they're growing up, and it molds the individual into the adult they'll become. I have a bunch of kittens out here that I had to actually chase, because I've already taken care of so many cats here. Literally over 60 cats. Over 60 cats. They're all spayed, they're all neutered. More than 3/4 of them I found homes for. I only have 13 cats left out here, okay? And I happened to see that there were some kittens. They must be at least 2 months old. And they were running around. I had to actually catch them. I had to chase them and catch them. Put food out and trap them. And I mean, they were not friendly. You know what I'm saying? They were like hissing at me and trying to claw me and shit. But what I did was I bought them in my house. And within a couple of days, I'm already, handling the cat. They already are comfortable with me. But when they're older, it'll be much harder to do that. Much harder. They could do this easily when they're young, because when they're older, you cannot do that. It'll be almost impossible. Not that it's impossible, because I've had adult cats that I've actually, gotten used to me, and now they come to me even when I call them. But it takes a long time when they're adults. So they're simpler when they're babies. But why did I catch them, right? I caught them because I want to find homes for them, but I also want to get them fixed. If I leave those 5 cats out, then they'll just reproduce and multiply. But I ask myself, why do I do this, right? I'm not getting anything out of it, but I'm doing it, but it's just something in me that makes me feel comfortable and okay with myself to know that they are going to have a better experience. I was never even really a cat person. Matter of fact, I'm going to walk outside and I'll show you the cats. I'll show you the cats right now. You guys just bear with me 1 second. I want to show you the kittens. So that's my boy Hercules right here. Kitties. All right, where are the kittens? There's one kitten. Look, there's one kitten right there. Look, I had to imagine I had to chase her, and now look, she comes with the rest of the other cats, and look, she's very, very friendly, right? She's very friendly now. Kitties. So they're around somewhere, but I happened to catch one today. Okay, I happened to catch one today. It's the last one. It's the 5th one. Okay, these I've already had indoors for quite some time. Okay, and I had to chase them down. Now, here's the one that we ended up catching today. Look at this. See that? Sorry, baby. See that? That's what I'm telling you. See that? In a couple days, he'll be friendly. But that's my point. We'll talk soon.